secret behind this no batter honey chicken lies in the marinade. So I've got some chicken breast here, and I'm going to add some soy sauce and also some Chinese Shaoxing wine, and I really love the aroma and the flavor that this adds to this dish. It kind of elevates it above that Chinese takeout kind of style, but if you would like to, you could just use some extra chicken stock. The whole point of this marinade is that we want a lot of liquid, because the liquid binding with the flour a little bit later on is what's going to give us the crunchy coating on the chicken rather than that heavy batter. And then also just an egg white. Now just give this a really good mix through. That egg white just needs to be broken up a little bit. Now this doesn't need long to marinate, just a few minutes while we get our stir fry sauce made. Okay, to start off with, some chicken stock and some honey, some white vinegar and some soy sauce. Just give that a mix through. Just try and dissolve that honey a little bit. And then even though we've got some honey in there, I'm going to add some sugar as well, because it's not just for sweetness, but the sugar is going to help us create like a sticky caramel for our sauce. So now what we need to do is get our chicken ready for frying. Now all of the chicken and all of that marinade, and yes, that's a lot of liquid, all of that goes into the flour. Now here's the part where we create all the crispy, craggly bits that are going to be on the outside of our chicken. So we want to mix the chicken and the marinade through that flour and use your fingers to really get that flour stuck to the outside of the chicken. So what I want to see are all these little bits of sticky flour and marinade stuck to the outside of that chicken. And now what you can see on the outside of that chicken are all those little crevices and cracks of flour and marinade, and that is where the magic will happen. Now these pieces just need to be fried in hot oil until lightly golden and crispy. Wow, now that chicken is looking delightful. Okay, we've got a lovely golden brown color. I'm gonna take those out, just drain them on some kitchen paper. And now take a look at that crispy, craggly goodness. It'd be criminal not to try it. Okay, now before I eat that whole tray of chicken, let's get our sauce going. So I just want a clean pan and a little bit of oil and just some garlic. And as soon as you can start to smell that beautiful fried garlic flavor, I want you to add in that stir fry sauce that we made. Just make sure you get all of that sugar and honey out of the bottom of the bowl. And now I just want to let this simmer for a couple of minutes. I want to start to see that sugar really bubbling up and that sauce getting nice and thick. Okay, here we go. This is what I call a fluffy sugar bubble. That's how I know that we're starting to get some action here. Time to add in just a little bit of corn flour mixed with some water. And now this is where the magic is. Look at that beautiful, glossy, thick sauce. Okay, now time for the chicken. Look at that shine. So beautiful. Yum, and you can see that beautiful light coating on that chicken is now soaking up all that delicious honey sticky sauce. Just a final drizzle of sauce. And then I like a little sprinkling of sesame seeds. You could use black or white, but I'm using black today. And there it is, guys, the ultimate honey chicken. No heavy, sticky, stodgy batters, just beautiful crispness plus some sweet and glossy goodness. Let's see. You guys have got to try this. It's very tender.
Beautiful.
That's
Tender.
nice. Thanks, Mum.
Oh, the spice, nice.
Is it as good as yours?
A little better than mine.
No, you're just saying that because everyone's watching.
No, it's better. Yes, good.
That's nice. Thanks, Mum. So So I'm not sure why this is called beggar's chicken. My mum calls it beggar's chicken, but there are lots of other recipes that look nothing like this one that are called beggar's chicken. Anyway, whatever it's called, we call it the most amazing chicken in the world in my house. It's a firm favorite and it's super easy to make. So the first thing we need to do is make a really lovely garlicky coriander and pepper paste. So I'm going to start off with some garlic cloves. I just want to bruise those so I can get the skins off. And to that I want to add some coriander root. So you will have noticed that in a lot of my mum and my Thai recipes, we start out a lot of the time with this coriander, garlic and pepper paste. It's a very traditional, old school Thai paste, and it's the basis for a lot of recipes. So you just want the root part, that's got all the flavor that we want. Save those leaves for later. And then a little bit of salt. The salt helps to break down the fibers when we're using the mortar and pestle. And then a little bit of white pepper as well. I've also done this with black peppercorns, so you could totally substitute that. And then just pound this to a rough paste. Okay, so this is the kind of texture that you're looking for. And then into a stock pot or something that's large enough to hold the whole chicken, I'm gonna add a little bit of oil. And the whole point of this is that we're gonna layer some really beautiful flavors, starting off with the paste. I love that smell. It's such a comforting smell. It reminds me so much of my mum's kitchen. And then add your chicken in. Now just give this guy a couple of swirls in here. Just make sure that garlic paste isn't burning at the bottom. Just want to start to kind of get some of those chickeny flavors going in here. And now I'm going to start adding all the aromatics. So I've got some star anise and a cinnamon stick. And some soy sauce. So first of all I need some light soy sauce, and that's just a regular Chinese soy sauce. It's called light, but that's mainly just to differentiate it from the dark soy sauce. So that's going to go in. And then now here I have some sweet dark soy sauce. This is a little thicker than regular dark soy sauce. It has a bit more of a molasses kind of flavor. If you're in Australia or you're near an Asian grocer, you can also use what's called ketchup manis, which is the Indonesian version. Anyway, what you're looking for is a sweet dark soy sauce. So that's what you want. This is going to give us a beautiful color and a little bit of sweetness. And now I add in some water. You want enough so that about 3/4 of the chicken is covered. Now just make sure those spices are in the broth. Just mix that around, release some of that paste from the bottom so it doesn't burn. And then the lid goes on and you want to gently simmer this for about 90 minutes. Halfway through I like to kind of give the chicken a flip over just so I get a nice even color and everything. But what you're looking for is for that chicken to really start to almost fall off the bone. It should be that tender. So this chicken recipe has quite the reputation in my family. My dad reckons that when my mum first made it for him, that's when he knew that he was going to ask her to marry him. So there you go, the marriage proposal chicken. And here are some photos of my mum and dad before they got married. That's my dad, he's Australian, and there's my mum being all fancy, and how fun. She looks so styling. Wow, so this chicken is really smelling so amazing. It's one of the things that I love about this dish. It's like when it's cooking, it just fills your whole house with happiness. I love it. Okay, let's have a look at how we're going. Oh, look at that beautiful color. Okay, so time to get this guy out onto a serving dish. Now be gentle here because that chicken will be a little delicate. And then one last thing to do is check the broth for seasoning. Complex flavor is so delicious. Just a little background note of the star anise and the cinnamon, and then the beautiful saltiness from the soy sauce. So good. It does need a little bit of salt, which you might be surprised about because of the amount of dark soy sauce we added, but dark soy sauce is actually less salty than regular soy sauce. It's just got a little bit more sweetness. So I do need to add a little bit of salt here. And then at my house, we serve this family style. So we serve the chicken out on the table. Some of this broth goes over the top. And then I like to have some rice or some noodles nearby to really soak up all that yummy sauce. And just a little bit of coriander on the top as well. So there you go, guys, my mum's family recipe for beggar's chicken, a favorite at my house. I hope your family loves it too. Can't wait to dig in here. Yum, so good. I love this one, and it's very unique because it has a very different flavor profile to most Thai dishes. This one has lots of rich dried spice flavors and curry powder flavors. It's really awesome. All right, let's get going on the marinade paste first. So we start off with quite classical Thai ingredients. First of all, we want some garlic and some coriander root. And now some ginger, just a little dash of salt here, and you just want to pound this to a smooth paste. Okay, so this is the kind of situation that you're looking for here. I'm going to get that straight out into a big bowl. And now come some of the ingredients that you don't usually find in Thai cooking. So this dish has its origins in the Muslim community here in Thailand, and so some of the ingredients are not as familiar to our Thai everyday cooking. I'm going to add in some yogurt and some curry powder. And again, I think a lot of people think of Thailand, they think of curries, but we don't often use curry powder as an ingredient. We generally rely on fresh ingredients like lemongrass and galangal and chilies for our curry pastes. There are some dishes with curry powder, obviously this is one of them. And I want some fish sauce and some turmeric. The turmeric here really is one of the defining flavors and colors of this dish, so it's really important. Now just give that a mix. Now I'm going to add in my chicken pieces here, and for me, guys, it's got to be dark meats for this one. It's got to be drumsticks and chicken thighs because they tend to remain juicier while they're cooking in your big pot. Now just give that a mix. Now, if you're really organized, it would be great if you could leave this to marinate overnight, but I generally tend to not be that organized or have that much time, so I'm going to pretty much use mine straight away. Now, the traditional thing to do here would be to deep fry that chicken. I'm going to do it in a little bit more of a convenient way today. I'm just going to shallow fry it in a little bit of oil. Now take your chicken pieces. Now the only way to do this really is with your hands, so you're going to have to get a little dirty here. Just scoop off most of that marinade because I'm going to use that marinade a bit later, and get your chicken straight into the pan. Now the idea here is that we want to get a really beautiful deep dark colour on our chicken pieces. One, it just looks great. Two, it starts to develop a really beautiful flavour when we get that caramelisation. You'll see what I mean. Now remember, don't throw that marinade away, we need that for later. Okay, so a couple of minutes and let's turn these guys over. Oh, that's perfect. Look at that beautiful colour. Now a couple more minutes on this second side. And now just transfer that chicken out of the pan. It doesn't need to be cooked through, it'll finish cooking a bit later on. Now would you take a look at that gloriousness happening in the bottom of that pan there? That is some good chicken fat and we are not going to waste it. So I just want a good few spoonfuls of that. And then I'll just get this pan cleaned up so we can continue on. Okay, so I've got my clean pan. I'll pour that chicken fat back into there. And now let's go in with some onion. And always when I'm sweating down onions like this, I add a little dash of salt. And you'll notice it throughout a lot of the dishes that I cook. There's some seasoning that happens every step of the way. We seasoned our paste at the beginning, we added fish sauce into the chicken, a little bit of salt here, and that really helps to develop the flavors in the finished dish. Now once these onions have had a few minutes to soften up in here, now these onions are soft, a little sweet now, I'm going to add in some tomato. And I want to give this tomato a little bit of time to kind of get all mushy, make friends with that onion. Okay, so see how that tomato is a little bit pulpy? Now we want to add in the rice. This is a Thai jasmine rice. Any long grain rice will do. Now I'm going to sprinkle in some crispy fried shallots. Now that chicken marinade we saved earlier, that goes in here. This dish reminds me so much of an Indian biryani. In fact, a lot of people call this Thailand's version of biryani. And now some spices. You want a cinnamon stick, some green cardamom pods, and a couple of bay leaves. And some chicken stock. Already those beautiful spices are really making my kitchen smell delicious. Now we nestle those chicken pieces back into the pan, nice and snug in there. Now put the lid on, turn the heat down a smidge because I just want a gentle bubble on that liquid. So in the meantime, we're going to make a little minty sauce to go on at the end. Now you would have heard me say this before, but it's often the condiments that make the dish here in Thailand, so don't skip this one. What you want is a big old lot of mint here, and some coriander, and a little spicy kick. I want a green chili here. This one's fairly fiery. And now some white vinegar, dash of sugar, and a little pinch of salt. And blend that till it's really nice and smooth. Okay, so this is what you're after, and wow, that beautiful fresh mint smell is so lovely, and that colour, oh, so joyful. I love that so much. It is just like an instant brightener. That beautiful tangy vinegar infused with all those herbs and just that little touch of sweetness. Oh, and that little touch of spice. Perfect. Right, so the only part about this dish that sucks is waiting while the smell in your kitchen is so delicious. Oh, I wish you guys could smell this. Let's take a look. Beautiful. That rice has soaked up all of that flavour, that chicken is cooked through. Now, my little trick here is to just fish out the chicken and pile it up in a corner over here, and that gives us a little bit of space to fluff up our rice. Before I get to that though, I'm just going to pull out some of these spices that I can see, the cardamom pods, bay leaves, cinnamon stick, and then using a fork, just get in there and fluff that rice. Now I start off by scooping the rice on the top, and then have a look down the bottom there. You can see we've got some really dark, crusty bits of rice. That's my favorite bit. I just like to kind of scoop that up and mix it through. Any really dark bits, take those out and leave those on the side. I kind of sneak them and eat them myself. Now that's looking good. And we are ready to go, my friends. So pile up a nice bit of that gorgeous sunshine yellow rice. A couple of pieces of chicken. And the finishing touches, a little sprinkling of coriander, some more crispy fried shallots, and that epic green sauce we made earlier, and then a little dash of sweet chili sauce. And that, my friends, is one homemade chicken rice dish that is so comforting. Even just the smell of it cooking is ridiculously comforting for me. Let's have a look. I like to get the perfect mouthful always. So a little bit of chicken, some rice, don't forget those sauces. Holy smokes, that whole combination of flavors is just insane. Oh, that beautiful rice is spices, the chicken, but then that real pop of vinegar herbiness at the end. Just like seriously amazing. Oh, I love this kind of home cooking. Simple, and yet so good. The secret to this amazing dish is that we're going to use our braising liquid for the chicken to make like this awesome sauce for the noodles. So we kind of get a 2-for-1 bang for your buck with our braising liquid here. So let's start off with that liquid. And I've got some dried shiitake mushrooms here that I've had soaking in some warm water. Just going to pull the mushrooms out, just give them a light squeeze. Great thing about using dried shiitake mushrooms is that we get some extra flavor from this soaking liquid. So don't waste that. Strain the liquid just because sometimes you can get a bit of sediment, dirt from the mushrooms. Keep that for when we do our chicken later. Now, the mushrooms themselves. One thing that really irks me in restaurants is when they don't take the stem off the dried shiitake mushrooms because the thing is inedible. It's really chewy, it's not tasty, and it only takes 2 seconds to take it off. And now all the aromatics that we want to use to infuse the liquid and the chicken. So I'm going to start off with some ginger. And I want a really decent handful of garlic cloves here. Just want to crush these. And some spring onion as well. I just want the kind of firmer, pale part of the spring onion here. I'm going to slice those, save the green tips for later. Now into a hot saucepan, add some oil. And I don't want my saucepan to be too big here because I want the chicken to fit nice and snug so I don't have to add any extra water to cover the chicken. You'll see what I mean later. In go the aromatics and just give those time to have a little bit of a sizzle in there. That really smells amazing already. So comforting, that ginger and the garlic, yum. And now for the soy sauce. So we're going to use 2 types, both Chinese. One is Chinese light soy sauce and the other one is dark soy sauce. So you might get a bit confused where the light soy sauce doesn't refer to light in salt or light in calories or anything like that. It's just light in color. In fact, the light soy sauce is saltier than this dark soy sauce, which is actually sweeter. And then I want some Chinese cooking wine, also known as Shaoxing wine as well. You can leave that out if you want to keep this alcohol free. And then I've got that mushroom soaking liquid and some sugar. I'm going to add my mushrooms back in here and just wait for this to start bubbling away again. And now for the chicken. So I'm using chicken thighs. I find they stay juicier and I love the flavor. You can totally use chicken breast as well though, up to you. Now the important thing here is I want to get the chicken skin side down, if indeed your chicken does have skin, which I love also, because I want the skin to take on all of that beautiful soy sauce color. And then you'll see here, because my saucepan is quite small, I've got a really nice snug fit in the chicken and it's almost completely covered with the liquid. If it's not, you'll need to add a little bit of water here just so the chicken is covered, and you might need to add a bit of salt there at the end. Now here comes the little bit of technique that is going to keep our chicken really nice and tender and juicy and still flavor that broth. So I want you to simmer this gently for 10 minutes and then take it off the heat, put the lid on and let it sit for 30 minutes. And that slow residual cooking is going to allow the chicken time to kind of soak up all those flavors in the braising liquid and give it time to cook through. So at this point you've been very patient, your kitchen is smelling beautiful. Let's have a check on our chicken. Okay, so this chicken is looking really nice and firm. I can tell it's cooked through. If you find that it's not, just put it back on the stovetop for a little bit and gently simmer it till it's cooked through. I'm going to take these pieces out first of all. And don't forget those beautiful mushrooms. And then strain out that sauce. Now I'm just going to bring this sauce back up to a simmer. In the meantime, I'm going to check it for some seasoning. Oh wow, you will not believe the amount of flavor in there. I can taste the ginger, and that beautiful soy flavor is rounded out by that little hint of sweetness with the sugar and the ginger. Everything, it's just so good. I will add a little bit of salt though. You can just add that to taste.
And just remember, we're going to be using only a little bit of this sauce with quite a lot of noodles, so make it a little saltier than you think. So now let's talk about the noodles, and I've got these beautiful Chinese dried egg noodles. You could use fresh egg noodles. I do prefer egg noodles for this one. I find they have a bit of body and a bit of richness that really goes well with this sauce. Pop your noodles into some boiling water. Loosen them up a little bit, and whatever you do, don't overcook them. Oh, there's nothing worse than soggy noodles, just like soggy pasta. So go for al dente here. While the noodles are going, I'm just going to take a little bit of that beautiful braising liquid, pour that into my bowl. You want a little bit in each bowl. And now the noodles, they go into that sauce. And I've got some green vegetables here. I'm just going to quickly blanch them in the water. They literally only take a couple of seconds. And then one of those beautiful mushrooms and the chicken. Cooking chicken this way really does keep it so juicy. I really hate those dry, tough pieces of chicken you can get on noodles. So unnecessary. Finally, a little drizzle of sesame oil. The devil is always in the details, my friends. And some sambal olik, or just some spicy chili paste, whatever you've got around, and a little sprinkling of spring onion. And now the real joy here comes with mixing those noodles in that sauce and with the chili paste. So good. Now let's see if I can eat these ladylike without getting anything on my top. That flavor, I mean, you would swear you've been simmering that liquid or that sauce for hours. So good. Chicken is so tender and infused with all of those beautiful aromatics. This is such a complete and happy meal for me. Gets me every time.